doctor was astonished to find that the bumps were actually unusual growths after the surgery when the bandages were removed.
Hey y'all, so today I'm making my man some stuffed salmon with some rice. This is his most requested meal. He loves salmon. And I'll be trying to make it different ways for him. I have tried fried salmon, of course regular seared salmon, and this is my second time doing the stuffed salmon. Yeah, this shit is fire, so I recommend you to make this for your man, boo.
Hey, Future, close his damn mouth. But y'all both got your mouth open.
You know, man, you know, like shit. Alright, then. She said, why window shop when you own this?
Shamiya Ny'Air Allen was a young, bright woman who deserved so much more than the chaos she found herself in. At 16, she crossed paths with Brian Jackson, a 31-year-old tattoo artist who clearly had no issue pursuing someone half his age. Sure, Indiana's age of consent laws made it legal, but let's not pretend there's anything normal about a grown man getting involved with a teenager. Brian didn't just stop at dating Shamiya. He introduced her to the exhausting circus of a polyamorous relationship, because apparently juggling multiple girlfriends was his idea of relationship goals. And Shamiya, believing she was in love, stayed, thinking she could handle it all. By 18, Ny'Air life had become a whirlwind of toxic arguments, domestic violence arrests, and trying to navigate Jackson's messy love life, all while raising their son and preparing for another child. Let's not forget, Jackson's other girlfriends weren't exactly thrilled about her, creating a never-ending cycle of drama. The man who should have been her partner became her source of constant stress. And just when you think it couldn't get worse, Shamiya allegedly caught him in bed with another girlfriend. According to Jackson, that moment overwhelmed her, and he claims she made the devastating decision to free herself and her unborn child from this world. But isn't it convenient how he's suddenly portraying himself as the victim in a tragedy he played a significant role in creating? Allen's story isn't just tragic, it's infuriating. A young woman still figuring out life was thrown into a situation that no teenager, legal or not, should have been in. Brian may not have broken any laws, but let's be real. His actions were predatory, selfish, and destructive. Shamiya deserved a chance to live, to grow, to thrive, not to be trapped in a chaotic relationship with a man who treated her like an accessory to his ego. This isn't just a sad story, it's a glaring example of how power imbalances and manipulation can destroy lives. Welcome to the American Crime Femicide channel. Please like, share, subscribe, and hit the notification bell for future uploads. Things weren't always bad between Brian and Shamiya, at least, that's the image they tried to sell. The couple attempted to play house, raising their child under one roof while curating the perfect family-friendly fitness content online. They wanted followers, engagement, and the illusion of a happy life. But even during those workout sessions, their reality couldn't be hidden. Fights broke out on camera, tension bubbled beneath the surface, and when Ny'Air reached her limit, she walked away in frustration.
I was about to fall. I was about to fall. I was trying to spot your ass. Why you come back? Little winged ass. Come close the door.
She came back, but anyone with eyes could see she wasn't okay. As time passed, things only got worse. In April 2024, Brian found himself behind bars for domestic battery against Ny'Air. Then in July 2024, he was arrested again for violating home detention, lying about his identity, and fraud. If that wasn't enough drama, he also took to social media in November to whine about how much he hated being on house arrest and how he was tired of his earthly troubles. A cry for help? Maybe. A glimpse into his mindset? Absolutely. 2 weeks later, Shamiya had her own run-in with the law. On December 11, she was arrested for physically confronting Brian after finding him cozied up with another woman in what she thought was their home, in the very bed she once shared with him. Yet, despite their ongoing battles, they forced smiles and celebrated their son's birthday like nothing was wrong. But the tension was still there, simmering just beneath the surface. And by January 29th, their volatile relationship reached a devastating climax. Anderson police received a call from Brian claiming that Allen had broken into his house. The report stated that she had a firearm and was searching for him inside. Officers arrived and began clearing the residence, but before they could intervene, a single gunshot rang out. Moments later, Ny'Air was found suffering from a gunshot wound to the head. But Brian didn't grieve. He didn't mourn the mother of his child. Instead, he sprinted to Facebook, where he wasted no time doing damage control. In a now-deleted post, he wrote, "Whoever gave my baby mama a gun, she just broke in my house and was shot in the head." Just like that, cold, detached, and devoid of any remorse. The public backlash was swift, forcing him to erase his words, but not before they were screenshotted and shared. Then, as if the situation couldn't get any more suspicious, a lengthy message suddenly appeared on Ny'Air's page, one detailing why she supposedly did what she did. But was it really her? Or was it just another piece of Brian's carefully crafted narrative? It stated, "If y'all are seeing this, that means I did what I planned on doing. Either everybody in the house died or just me. Either way it goes, I put it on my son that I wasn't going back to jail again. I don't regret my decision at all. The only thing I really regret is the moment I ever called 12 on my baby daddy. The moment I dialed 911, I ruined the life that I really wanted for myself. Ever since then, my life changed for the worse. He never did anything to me that deserved jail time. In fact, he actually did many things to help better my life. I would only wish jail on my worst enemy. Now that I see what it was really like in there, I hate myself for getting him locked up. I don't feel bad for getting that pit bull-faced ex of his locked up, though. Laugh out loud. But the fact that he forgave me for that and for getting him locked up not once, but twice, shows me that he loved me unconditionally. I know I used to make him sound bad by only talking about the wrong things he did, but I could write a book about the things that prove he loves me and that he's a great man. I was just too young and dumb to appreciate it. Y'all can say I was too young for him, but he was just right for me. He was what I wanted, and I didn't care if he had a girlfriend or not. I did whatever it took to have him to myself. But once I got him to myself, I realized what my role really felt like. He needed 2 women. It all made sense. I just didn't care. I wanted him to myself, and I always got what I wanted. So I said and did just enough to convince him that I could be his number one, but I never really planned on it. I could see how frustrated I was making him, but I thought he could become the man of my dreams if he could just be patient with me while I figured out how to do good woman things the way he wanted. I knew what it took to be a good woman for him, but when it came to actually doing it, I would get overwhelmed, especially being pregnant and then fresh after giving birth. I just didn't have the energy to help him the way he deserved. I wanted to do whatever I could for him, since I'm 95% of the reason he ever needed help in the first place. Finally taking accountability for my role, I admit that I was wrong for coming into this grown man's life and trying to manipulate him into changing his lifestyle for me. He ended up losing so much in that process: his house, car, job, friends, family, and freedom. When I met him, he was doing great financially and headed in the right direction, but he was so emotionally damaged from that woman cheating on him. He was not in his right mind at all. I just thought I could be there for him and heal him with this good, laughing emoji, but he could not get over this woman. So I had to remove her from the picture myself, laughing emoji, but even that didn't work. Everything just got worse. He was still accepting her jail calls and writing her right in front of me. But I had to act like I was cool with it. I even helped tattoo her name on him after he told me he was over her, first of course. I just had to play my cards right long enough, and he would be all mine. He was really young and naive too. I already knew he was impressionable when I met him, and he was honest about his intentions from day one. I should have just accepted him as he was, but I thought I could get in and change him into the man I wanted. That's where I went wrong. When I made it clear that I didn't have intentions of being his woman or even one of his women, he tried to break up with me respectfully. But I felt like I had sacrificed too much of myself for us not to be where I wanted him. I wouldn't let him leave me and certainly wasn't letting him go. My family had been judging me and talking down on me ever since I got with him, and every time I tried to leave, he would immediately play into the negativity, making everything worse. I was too hurt to admit that my whole family abandoning me was because I was choosing the only person who had been there for me, without judgment, with patience, as I grew. This is really all DCFS' fault. They was trying to separate a black family over nothing. They were stressing me out, trying to make it seem like I was a bad mother, making me jump through all these hoops to prove that I wasn't with my baby daddy anymore just to get my baby back when they shouldn't have taken him in the first place. My baby daddy was the only one truly there for me, helping me without making me regret accepting his help. When DCS first came to take my baby, none of my so-called family loved me enough to make sure he didn't end up in foster care. It was Brian's family who stepped in to get our son, or at least someone else who wasn't my family. So now he's been staying with my sister's mother for the past 8 months. Knowing that DCS doesn't have a GPS on my baby and isn't checking up on her at all, she never once tried to let me see my child. She really tried to keep my baby for herself. That's another story I won't even get to tell. Shake my head. But all that to say, I really messed my life up, and he kept forgiving me. I kept promising to fix things and do better for us, but it was just too hard to stay motivated when I was missing my baby 24/7. And I knew how hard it was weighing on Brian, because he literally told me everything I needed to know to prevent all of this. Everything bad that happened to me was because I ignored his advice. So please, y'all, don't blame him for what I did, and don't blame the person who gave me the gun. I was going to get one from somewhere eventually, no matter what. This was my decision. I was going to hurt that pit bull-faced ex for putting hands on me and calling 12. They didn't jump me. He was just trying to break it up. I let the cops make me mad because I told them I was in a shelter and didn't have any food. When I got there, I just had to see if he had gone over there. I just knew he did. I protected the last bit of the family we had, and I just protected her friend's name once she knew she had to protect herself like any normal person would. But I did this. They put their hands on me, and I'm going back to jail. And whether Brian sees it or not, we are soulmates. Wherever he goes, I go. Wherever I go, he goes. While Ny'Air's family was mourning and trying to make sense of what happened, Brian was too busy trying to dodge accountability, jumping on social media with a novel-length monologue about how he was the real victim. The man barely took a breath before making sure to tell everyone how much he did for her, how much she needed him, and of course, how he was losing his mind from all the backlash. But let's be real. If you have to spend this much time convincing the world that you're innocent, maybe you're not as blameless as you claim. He wrote, "Man, forget all y'all for real. And that's on my dead baby. Yeah, I done went crazy and been doing dumb stuff. Have y'all ever been woken up out of your sleep at 3 a.m. to someone breaking into your house through your window again? but this time they got a gun in their hand. You hit the lights, and all you hear is, "Yeah, you thought it was over? You think this is a game? You called the police on me again. Now I got another warrant, and I ain't gonna be able to see my son. And you think you're about to be laid up with the next chick taken care of her while she's pregnant? You about to die. What would you do then?" All I can remember is the last time I saw this person, they were literally breaking into my house through the window claiming to be hungry. But they ran past the kitchen, back to the bedroom, and attacked my new girlfriend before realizing she was 3 times her size. Clearly they were attacking first and not asking any questions. Now they're getting handled very easily, so I have to break it up before it gets out of hand. But then they claim I'm jumping them, swearing on their only son that they're gonna make me pay. And on their way out the door, they hit me in the face with a crowbar. The only reason they left was because I had to call the police to protect myself. You would be lucky if you had a house where you could lock an intruder in the garage from inside your house. But my luck stinks, and there's a stupid window from the garage leading inside. And they just threw a 25-pound weight through it. Now they're climbing through that window, trying to point a gun at me, but cutting themselves on the broken glass. I had just enough time to answer the door and thank the universe for whoever called the police. I'm thinking, cool, the police are here. They're gonna get her up out of here. Let me tell them what's going on. But before I could even say a whole sentence, the cop and I both hear a gunshot. I try to run back to save them, but the cop grabs me and drags me outside. The other cop runs in through the front door, but then runs back out and around to kick in the back door, just to find them alone with their own gun. He kicked down my door for nothing because he could have just unlocked it from the inside where he started. But I can't even begin to worry about that because I just heard that she was shot in the head. That person happens to be the mother of my infant son. That person was carrying my unborn child. That person took me through hell, but always helped me get out of it. That person was who I planned to give heaven to. And now it's all over in the blink of an eye because she was so traumatized by her jail time that she refused to go back. At all costs. And now I'm getting blamed, getting death threats, all while I'm on house arrest, and everybody knows where I live. I know I didn't do anything because the police were there when it happened, so I would have been in jail already. But nobody believes me. I've been painted as the villain from day one because I'm older than her, and nobody cares that she could have had any dude she wanted. She chose me. She hit me up. She slid on me. She did whatever she had to do to have me to herself, because I was clearly showing her more love than anybody else. I wasn't the first to turn my back on her. I was the last to turn my back. But I'm the one being blamed. Y'all don't even know that I was the one that gave her a career after she got me locked up. I was the one who bought a house for her so she could be comfortable when I could have easily done my house arrest somewhere else and saved $2,000 a month. I was the one feeding her whatever she craved every day. And now I'm being painted as an abuser and manipulator just because I gave her the discipline and structure that her own family should have given her. I was investing in her dreams, supporting her, giving her everything she needed for her goals. I was the only one that took her to Aspire for a mental health evaluation. I cared more than anyone else. I'm the one that lost my son's mother and our unborn child. But before I can even grieve, people are already pulling up to my crib, busting out windows at 5 a.m., pulling up 4 deep in a black Suburban in broad daylight. I just want to lay in bed and cry all day, but people are dropping my address, telling folks where to find me. What would y'all do then? I'm losing my mind. I was trying to do anything to shed light on the truth. Baby girl, you know I've never made a RIP post on social media. Not one for any of my family members. No happy heavenly birthday posts, none of that. You know I don't grieve like that. But I can't even grieve if I wanted to because my dumb self put everything on social media. But honestly, I'm too mad at you to grieve anyway. I was waiting on you to pull up on me in my sleep. I know you were too embarrassed to even face me, 'cause you know you did too much. Now that you're calm, you know it wasn't that deep, just like always. Ugh, I'm so mad at you. You know I hate how much I love you. I'm sorry I ran out of patience. But I never gave up. You were still gonna drive the Porsche. And I'm still gonna get it for you, baby. All pink from the inside out. And it's gonna say Ny'Air on the license plate. This unhinged, narcissistic rant only confirmed for everyone what they already suspected. Brian wrote that so-called farewell post. The guilt was eating at him, but instead of taking responsibility, he tried to paint himself as the grieving, misunderstood hero. His own words betrayed him, and the internet wasn't buying it. Here's the deal. After comparing the writing, tone, and structure of the post by Brian and Shamiya, it's crystal clear these two posts were written by the same person. The way they talk, exactly the same. Both posts are loaded with run-on sentences, heavy slang, and that overly dramatic, woe is me vibe. They jump between blaming others, taking a little responsibility, and trying to justify their actions, like they're low-key writing a soap opera about their life. The themes, straight out of the same playbook. Nobody understands me. I just wanted to help. I'm being judged unfairly. It's the same tired narrative in both posts. Even the way they toss out y'all every other sentence and abbreviate because screams it's the same person. It's like they copy-pasted their own thoughts into two different contexts, hoping nobody would notice. Spoiler alert, we noticed. Bottom line, both posts are the same song with slightly different lyrics. The tone, style, and mindset are way too similar to be a coincidence. Whoever wrote these thought they were slick, but the writing's all over the wall, and it's written by the same hand. Someone messaged Brian calling him out for creating and deleting the Shamiya's final thoughts. His response was defensive and suspect. Let's be real. Jackson never outright says, I didn't write it. Instead, he dodges, bringing up death threats and people pulling up to his crib like that somehow explains the deleted post. He's trying to play victim, talking about being on house arrest and not having a gun to defend himself, but that's beside the point. The question was simple. Did he fake the letter? Instead of answering, he's out here deflecting and making excuses. If he really didn't write it, why not just come out and say it loud and clear? All this roundabout talk makes it seem like he's hiding something. His whole response screams guilty vibes, trying to shift attention away from the accusation rather than clearing his name. It's looking real shady. In the days following Shamiya's passing, Brian has been doing what he does best, playing the victim, deflecting blame, and making himself the center of attention. He insists on his innocence, parading around like a grieving partner, shedding crocodile tears for the same girl he manipulated, isolated, and allegedly pushed to her breaking point. And in what can only be described as an audacious PR stunt, he was the very first donor to her GoFundMe, dropping a whole $100 like that was supposed to erase all the damage he caused. The sheer audacity is astounding. While many suspect he had a hand in the circumstances that led to her demise, law enforcement has officially ruled her passing as a heartbreaking personal choice, noting that she was the only person in the room when it happened. Meanwhile, Shamiya's mother, Danielle Pearson, is left to pick up the pieces, writing a gut-wrenching post on her daughter's GoFundMe that lays bare the tragic reality of what she endured. My name is Danielle Pearson, and my daughter's name is Shamiya Ny'Air Allen. My daughter decided to free her spirit on January 30th, 2025, just 2 weeks before her 19th birthday, which just so happens to be on Valentine's Day. This is so hard for my family, especially with her birthday being so close. My daughter was such a sweet, beautiful girl with a handsome 1-year-old son named Future. Shamiya was funny and so full of life. She could do anything she put her mind to. To know her was literally to love her. From the moment I had her, she came out grabbing the scissors, trying to cut her own umbilical cord. My baby has always been strong and a fighter. Shamiya was manipulated by a 32-year-old man who just so happened to also be her child's father. He took her through so much in such a short time. I want to bring her story to light for young girls her age. Love is a crazy thing, and it will make you do some unimaginable things. This man went as far as to create a post on her behalf on her Facebook after she had already passed, like she pre-wrote a letter about him. My daughter loved her baby and was just so heartbroken and tired of trying to fight. He drove her to a different level of insanity. Domestic violence is not just physical abuse, it is also mental. All of her siblings and her family loved her dearly and wanted so desperately to help her. We all did everything we could to try to keep her from him, but it was just not enough. The saddest part about all of this is my grandson still has to be raised without a mother. We have to keep her name alive and help someone else who may be feeling alone or that their only option is to take their own life. I am sick to my stomach that I could not help my baby. She had so much life to live. She was just a baby. Please help us with anything you can, whether it be a hug, a prayer, or a helping hand. Father God, give us strength to carry on during this time. Anything extra will go into a trust fund for my grandson's future. Shamiya Strong. As her family grieves this unimaginable loss, let's not ignore the glaring issue here. Shamiya was far too young to be entangled with a man like Brian, and the polyamorous mess he dragged her into only made matters worse. She wasn't just a young mother trying to navigate life. She was someone who was manipulated by an older man who was twice her age and should have known better. And now, that same man stands accused by the court of public opinion for playing a role in her tragic fate. She didn't just leave behind her 1-year-old son. She also left this world carrying the unborn child of a man who has spent the last few days doing PR damage control instead of truly mourning. This should have never happened. This was preventable. She deserved better. May Shamiya Ny'Air Allen and her unborn child rest in peace.